The war ended without a final battle. That alone told Elias Kane everything he needed to know. Human ships still burned in orbit around Earth, their broken hulls drifting like graves in space. The alien fleet did not fire again. They did not need to. Humanity had lost, not because humans lacked courage, but because the enemy had something older than courage: time, patience, and numbers beyond counting. The Aurelian Compact had been watching humanity for centuries. When they finally moved, it was fast and cold. Human defenses collapsed in weeks. Cities survived, but pride did not. Elias stood in silence inside the orbital council chamber, his hands locked behind his back. He wore his formal uniform, cleaned and repaired so many times that the fabric felt thinner than paper. Medals rested on his chest, symbols of battles that no longer mattered. He was Earth's hero, and Earth was giving him away. Across the chamber, towering and calm, stood the Aurelians. Tall, graceful beings, with silver-blue skin and glowing eyes that reflected light instead of absorbing it. They did not wear armor. They did not need to. Their confidence was heavier than any weapon. The translator device hummed softly as the Aurelian high speaker stepped forward. To ensure the survival of your species, the alien voice echoed, a binding union will be formed. Elias already knew the terms. Everyone did. The Compact did not believe in mercy. They believed in control that looked like kindness. Commander Elias Kane would marry High Envoy Seralith of the Aurelian noble caste. A political marriage. A leash made of ceremony and smiles. The human council members avoided Elias's eyes. Some looked ashamed. Others looked relieved. No one spoke. Elias did not argue. He had fought when fighting mattered. This was not that moment. He bowed his head once. The galaxy took that as submission. The wedding took place 3 days later aboard the Aurelian flagship, Radiant Accord. It was larger than any human vessel ever built, its halls wide and smooth, glowing softly with alien light. Humans were guests, watched carefully but treated politely, too politely. Elias walked beside Seralith through the ceremonial chamber. She was taller than him by a head, her long, elegant form moving with slow confidence. Her eyes never left the path ahead. She did not touch him. She did not speak. To the watching nobles, she looked calm and victorious. To Elias, she looked thoughtful. The vows were spoken in 2 languages. Promises of unity, stability, peace. The Compact applauded softly. Human representatives forced smiles. Elias felt the weight of every camera and every eye. He was not just a man today. He was a message. This is what happens when humans lose. When the ceremony ended, Seralith finally turned toward him. "Come," she said through the translator. Her voice was smooth, controlled. "The Compact expects us to retire." Elias followed. He expected guards, surveillance, a room designed to remind him of his place. Instead, the doors closed behind them, and the locks disengaged with a quiet sound. Seralith waved a hand. The lights dimmed. Then something unexpected happened. She removed the translator from her neck and placed it on the table. Silence filled the room. Elias frowned. "You disabled monitoring?" "Yes," Seralith replied in perfect, unaccented English. Elias froze. "You speak my language," he said carefully. "I have studied your people for 20 years, she answered. Learning your speech was necessary. That was not what scared him. What scared him was the look in her eyes. Curiosity, respect, and something else he could not name. "You are not afraid," Elias said. Seralith tilted her head slightly. "I am not. That makes one of us," Elias replied. She studied him for a long moment, then moved closer. Not threatening, not intimate, simply present. "You believe this marriage is your punishment," she said. "It's hard not to," Elias answered. "Then the Compact has succeeded," Seralith said quietly. Elias's eyes narrowed. "In what?" "In making you underestimate yourself." She turned away and activated a projection on the wall. Stars filled the room. Trade routes, military positions, political boundaries, the galaxy, laid bare. "The Compact believes humanity is finished," she said. "Contained, controlled, pacified. And you? Elias asked. Seralith faced him again. I believe humanity is dangerous. Elias let out a short, humorless laugh. We just lost a war. Yes, she agreed. You lost a war you were not prepared for. She stepped closer. But your species adapts faster than any I have ever studied. You learn from loss. You do not surrender your will, only your position. Elias felt something shift inside him. You chose me, he said slowly. Why? Because you understand sacrifice, Seralith replied. And because you frighten my people without meaning to. Outside that room, the galaxy believed the marriage sealed humanity's fate. Inside, something else was being born. Not romance, not rebellion, a plan. You are not my prisoner. Elias Kane, Seralith said. You are my ally if you choose to be. Elias looked at the stars on the wall. At Earth's small, blue light among them, humans had been underestimated before. Every time, it had ended badly for someone else. What happens now? He asked. Seralith smiled faintly. Now, she said, we let the galaxy believe you have been broken. Elias returned the smile slow, sharp, and very human. Good, he said. They won't see us coming. Wars ended, borders changed, and life continued. To most alien civilizations, humanity was already old news, a young species that had challenged something far bigger than itself and paid the price. That belief was useful. Elias Kane learned that silence could be sharper than any blade. Weeks passed aboard the Radiant Accord. Elias was seen often and heard rarely. He attended ceremonies, smiled at nobles, and spoke polite words about unity and peace. Cameras loved him. The compact loved the image of a human hero turned obedient symbol. What they did not love or even notice was how much he listened. Seralith guided him through Aurelian society with careful precision. She showed him halls of power, trade councils, and cultural gatherings. Everywhere they went, alien leaders spoke freely, believing the human beside her was harmless. Elias remembered every word. The compact valued order above all else. Every fleet, every system, every decision followed ancient rules. That made them powerful. It also made them predictable. At night, when the doors sealed and the monitoring systems went dark, Seralith and Elias spoke openly. You see it now, Seralith said one evening, projecting a map of compact space. Their strength is also their weakness. They don't change, Elias replied. They refine, they perfect, but they don't adapt. Seralith nodded. To them, change means instability. To humans, it means survival. That difference was the foundation of everything. Seralith began quietly placing humans into unexpected positions. Engineers were reassigned to trade vessels. Analysts were attached to diplomatic teams. Pilots were allowed to observe alien fleet exercises. None of it looked dangerous. None of it broke compact law. But together, it formed a web. Elias sent messages home through approved channels. Carefully written. Harmless on the surface. Observe, learn, do not resist. Earth listened. Human commanders did not protest their limited fleets. Scientists accepted restrictions. Civilians adapted to new oversight. From the outside, humanity appeared calm, almost grateful. Inside, they prepared. The first test came sooner than expected. A mining system near the compact's outer edge reported unrest. Workers non-Aurelian species were refusing quotas. The compact dispatched a peace fleet. Standard procedure. Elias watched the report beside Seralith. They will send 3 ships, he said. Correct, Seralith replied. Enough to intimidate, not enough to threaten. They'll fail, Elias said. Seralith looked at him. Why? Because they will try to force order, Elias answered, not understanding. The prediction came true. The fleet arrived. Orders were given. Compliance was demanded. The miners resisted. The situation escalated, and then something unexpected happened. Human advisors quietly assigned months earlier suggested a different approach. Negotiation. Resource adjustment. Emotional incentives. The Aurelian commander dismissed it. The system descended into chaos. Trade stalled. News spread. The compact frowned. Seralith used the moment. She suggested placing Elias as a symbolic mediator. A human face, calm and controlled, to soothe unrest. The council agreed. Elias traveled to the system aboard a small escort ship. He did not carry weapons. He carried words. He listened to the miners. He acknowledged fear, exhaustion, and anger. He spoke not of law, but of fairness. The workers stood down. The system stabilized. The compact praised Elias for his obedience and usefulness. They did not realize they had just witnessed human diplomacy untamed by ancient rules. Back aboard the Radiant Accord, Seralith watched Elias carefully. "You did not dominate," she said. "You aligned. That's how humans survive," Elias replied. "We don't force the storm. We ride it." Something shifted in Seralith then. Not politically. Personally. For the first time, she did not see humanity as an experiment. She saw it as a future. The compact began requesting Elias more often. He became a tool they trusted. That trust was a mistake. Human observers mapped fleet response times. Engineers studied power systems. Strategists learned how compact commanders thought under pressure. Every piece of knowledge flowed quietly back to Earth, and Earth changed. Human ship designs evolved not to match Aurelian strength, but to avoid it. Smaller, faster, smarter. Fleets designed to operate without centralized command. When asked why humanity remained so calm under restriction, Elias answered simply, "We are patient." The compact believed patience meant acceptance. They were wrong. The breaking point came during a council vote. A proposal was introduced to permanently limit human military expansion. It was framed as protection, stability, peace. Seralith stood in support. So did Elias. The vote passed unanimously. Celebrations followed. That night, inside the private chamber, Elias looked at Seralith. "That was it," he said. "Yes," she replied. "They think the game is over." Seralith smiled faintly. "Games are only over when both sides agree." Elias activated a hidden projection. Human fleet movements lit the room, legal, approved, and completely misunderstood by compact intelligence. "Earth is ready," Elias said. "Not to fight, to respond." Seralith watched the data, her expression calm but intense. "You realize," she said, "that once this begins, the compact will never see humanity the same way again." Elias nodded. "That's the point." Outside, the galaxy slept, confident in its ancient power. It did not hear the quiet sound of humanity stepping into position. Not yet. The compact had ruled the stars for thousands of years. They believed that time itself was proof of superiority. That belief was about to crack. The first warning signs appeared as small problems too small for alarm. A delayed shipment here, a communication error there, a patrol fleet arriving seconds late to a scheduled checkpoint. To the compact, these were acceptable losses. To Elias Kane, they were signals. He stood beside Seralith on the observation deck of the Radiant Accord, watching a distant star flare softly. Reports scrolled across a transparent display between them. "Human trade vessels rerouted again," Seralith said calmly. "All legal," Elias replied. "All approved." "Yes," she said. "And all inefficient, by compact logic." "That's the trick," Elias said. "We don't think in straight lines." Human captains were changing routes based on instinct, rumor, and incomplete data. Compact algorithms could not predict that. They assumed logic without emotion. They assumed wrong. The real shift began when a border system went dark. No attack, no explosion, just silence. The compact dispatched a reconnaissance fleet. When it arrived, it found human ships already present, providing aid to a local species suffering from power grid failure. Human engineers restored the system in hours. The locals welcomed them. The compact commanders were confused. Humans had no authority there, but they had permission. Elias had made sure of that. Every action humanity took followed compact law so closely that accusations collapsed under review. Humans never challenged power directly. They moved around it. Seralith watched council meetings grow tense. Older nobles began arguing. Younger ones questioned doctrine. Change was spreading. The compact did not know how to stop it. Then came the crisis. A rebellion ignited in the outer sectors. Not violent. Coordinated. Peaceful resistance across dozens of systems. Labor stopped. Trade slowed. Supply chains froze. The compact mobilized fleets. Elias was summoned to the council. The chamber was filled with light and anger. Ancient beings raised their voices, something they almost never did. This instability follows humanity, one elder said. Explain. Elias stood calmly, hands behind his back. Instability already existed, he said. Humans only showed it a better way to speak. Ah, you undermine order, another accused. No, Elias replied. We offer alternatives. Seralith spoke then, her voice firm. Force will fail, she said. You are trying to crush thought with structure. The council ignored her. Fleets were dispatched. They returned, damaged, not destroyed, delayed, disoriented, confused by enemy actions that made no sense. Human advisors embedded in compact fleets had warned commanders not to advance in rigid formations. They were ignored. Human logic clashed with ancient doctrine. Doctrine broke first. Elias watched reports from Earth. Human defense groups activated not as one force, but hundreds of independent units. No central command. No single target. Compact intelligence could not map them. When a compact admiral asked how humans coordinated without clear orders, Elias answered honestly, they trust each other. That concept had no place in compact military theory. Seralith stood beside Elias as the galaxy changed around them. You planned this, she said quietly. We prepared for it, Elias replied. There's a difference. The breaking moment came when a compact fleet attempted to blockade a human-aligned system. Human ships did not confront them. They disappeared. Hours later, compact communications failed across 3 sectors. Navigation signals echoed false data. Supply ships arrived at empty coordinates. No weapons fired. No rules broken. The blockade collapsed. For the first time in compact history, a fleet withdrew without engagement. Fear entered the council chambers. The elders demanded answers. Seralith provided them. Humans do not fight how we fight, she said. They do not seek control. They seek choice. You are compromised, an elder accused. I am informed, she replied. All eyes turned to Elias. What does humanity want? The High Speaker demanded. Elias did not answer immediately. He looked at the gathered rulers' beings who had never known true defeat, only adjustment. We want space to decide our own future, he said. Nothing more. And if we refuse? The High Speaker asked. Elias met his gaze. Then we adapt, he said. Again, silence followed. Outside the chamber, reports continued to arrive. More systems choosing human trade standards. More species requesting human mediation. Humanity was not conquering. Humanity was becoming necessary. That frightened the compact more than war ever could. That night, Elias stood alone in the private chamber, staring at Earth's distant light. Seralith joined him. You've changed the balance, she said. So have you, Elias replied. She nodded. I believed humanity was dangerous because of potential. I did not realize how quickly you would reach it. Elias smiled slightly. We've been holding back for a long time. For survival, she said. For patience, he corrected. The compact called an emergency summit. For the first time, human representatives were invited as equals. Not subjects. Not symbols. Equals. As the galaxy watched, Elias Kane walked into the chamber, not as a defeated hero, but as proof of something the stars had forgotten. That strength did not always look like force. Sometimes, it looked like choice. And humanity had chosen to rise. The emergency summit changed everything. For the first time in its long history, the Aurelian Compact gathered not to judge a weaker species, but to negotiate with one. The Great Council chamber filled with representatives from dozens of star systems, ancient beings, younger races, and newly awakened civilizations all watched in silence. At the center stood Elias Kane. He wore no weapons, no armor, only his old human uniform, simple and worn. The medals were gone. He did not need them anymore. Beside him stood Cyrillith, calm and proud, her presence commanding respect. The High Speaker opened the session. The compact acknowledges instability across its domains, the ancient voice echoed. Human influence is significant. Elias did not smile. That influence exists because people choose it, he said, not because we force it. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The High Speaker's eyes narrowed. You undermine order. Elias shook his head. No. We remind people that order without choice becomes a cage. The words hit harder than any threat. Reports appeared across the central display. Systems that had stabilized under human mediation. Trade routes that had recovered. Conflicts resolved without fleets or fear. The evidence was clear. Humanity did not rule by power. Humanity ruled by trust. An elder noble spoke sharply. You were defeated. Your species should be grateful for survival. Elias turned toward the speaker, his voice steady. We are grateful, he said. That's why we didn't choose revenge. Silence fell. Cyrillith stepped forward. The compact made a mistake, she said. Not in sparing humanity, but in believing survival meant submission. She looked around the chamber. Humans adapt faster than any species we have recorded. Not because they are perfect, but because they accept failure and learn from it. The High Speaker studied Elias carefully. What does humanity demand? He asked. Elias took a slow breath. Nothing unreasonable, he said. Autonomy. Fair trade. Equal voice. No forced limits on growth. And if the compact refuses? The speaker asked. Elias met his gaze. Then humanity will continue doing what it already does, he said. Helping where we can. Trading where we are welcome. Standing where others fall. It was not a threat. That made it terrifying. The council withdrew for deliberation. Hours passed. Across the galaxy, fleets waited. Markets paused. Entire civilizations held their breath. On Earth, people gathered around screens, not knowing if peace would hold. Elias stood alone on the balcony, overlooking the chamber when Cyrillith joined him. You're calm, she said. I'm human, Elias replied. We learned a long time ago how to wait. She studied him. Do you ever regret accepting the marriage? Elias looked at the stars. If I hadn't, he said, we'd be fighting a war we couldn't win. And now? She asked. Now, he said softly. We're changing the rules. The council doors opened. The High Speaker returned, slower than before. The compact has reached a decision, he announced. Every sound faded. The restrictions on human expansion will be lifted. A wave of shock moved through the chamber. Humanity will be recognized as an autonomous power within compact space. More murmurs, louder now. Human representatives will hold permanent council seats. Cyrillith closed her eyes briefly. Elias remained still. And, the High Speaker continued, the marriage bond between Elias Kane and High Envoy Cyrillith will be acknowledged not as a symbol of control, but as a union of alliance. The decision echoed across the stars. Humanity had not conquered. Humanity had endured. Applause filled the chamber, hesitant at first, then stronger. Other species joined in. They had watched humanity stand without violence, without fear. They wanted that strength. Later, aboard the Radiant Accord, Elias stood at the observation window as human ships entered open space freely for the first time since the war. They were small compared to Aurelian vessels, but they moved with confidence. You did this, Cyrillith said quietly. Elias shook his head. No. Humanity did this. I just stood where they could see us. She smiled. You understand something my people forgot. What's that? He asked. That control is fragile, she said. But choice is strong. Elias looked at her. The galaxy will never be the same, he said. No, she agreed. Because humans don't return to cages. On Earth, children learned about the war not as a defeat, but as a lesson. That strength was not always loud. That patience could change the stars. Other species began adopting human ideas, flexible fleets, shared leadership, emotional intelligence. The compact evolved or faded. Years later, historians would write that the galaxy's balance changed not with a battle, but with a decision: to underestimate humanity, and to give them time. Elias Kane stood no longer as a symbol of surrender. He stood as proof that when humans are pushed down, they do not stay there. They adapt, they endure, and when the moment comes, they rise.